The screen displays a web page from BioniChaos focusing on hearing. There's an audio overview at the top, and below that, there are several interactive simulations, like an interactive spectrogram generator, a Cochlear Limited of visual analysis, a Cochlear Simulator, and an interactive cochlear implant insertion simulator. This page is the Cochlear Simulator. On the left, you see a spectrogram visualizing sound, and on the right, there's a spiral diagram representing the cochlea with electrodes along its structure. It allows you to adjust the array type, number of electrodes, color scheme, and noise gate, letting you simulate different cochlear implant configurations and how they affect sound perception. It's a useful tool for understanding the technology. Based on the spectrogram alone, it's challenging to determine the exact words you are saying. Spectrograms represent frequency distribution of sounds over time, which can show the phonetic structure of speech, but they don't provide the specific words themselves. It would be difficult to accurately transcribe your speech without additional information or context. Yes, the simulation also features a spiral diagram that visually represents the cochlea and the placement of electrodes within it. You can adjust the number of electrodes and the way they are arranged, which helps understand how different configurations might impact hearing perception by stimulating different parts of the cochlea. It's a clear visual representation of how cochlear implants work. The spiral representation mimics the natural shape of the cochlea, where different frequencies are processed at different points along its curve. The linear representation, on the other hand, shows the electrodes in a straight line, simplifying the visualization of their placement along the frequency range. Both represent the array of electrodes, but the spiral provides a more anatomically accurate view of how they interact with the cochlea. Besides the array type, you can also adjust the number of electrodes using a slider, which changes the resolution of the simulation. The color scheme lets you change the visual representation of the frequencies. Additionally, there's a noise gate control that you can enable and adjust the threshold for, which helps filter out background noise and focus on the relevant sounds. Imagine the Cochlear Simulator as a way to see and understand how a cochlear implant works. The spectrogram on the left is like a picture of sound, showing the different pitches and how loud they are. The spiral on the right represents your inner ear, and the electrodes are like tiny messengers that carry sound signals to your brain. You can change how many of these messengers there are and how they are arranged to see how that affects how someone hears sound. The noise gate helps block out extra noise so you can focus on the important sounds. It's like a virtual lab to explore how cochlear implants work. This simulator is a powerful tool for understanding the principles of cochlear implant technology. You can explore the relationship between sound frequencies, their representation in the cochlea, and the electrical stimulation provided by the electrodes. By adjusting the parameters like the number of electrodes and their arrangement, you can simulate different encoding strategies and see how they affect the perception of sound. It's a hands-on way to understand the complexities of biomedical engineering and hearing technology. The number of electrodes is being adjusted on the slider. You can see the number of colored dots in the spiral increasing or decreasing as the slider is moved. This changes the resolution of the simulated sound processing by the cochlear implant. You can also change the color scheme for the spectrogram and cochlea diagram using the drop-down menu. Additionally, you can enable the noise gate and adjust its threshold to see how it filters out background noise, allowing you to experiment with improving sound clarity in different conditions. The noise gate function filters out sounds below a certain threshold, which can help reduce background noise and make the main sounds clearer. When you enable it, the simulator will suppress the quieter sounds, ideally making it easier to hear the more important frequencies. If you don't see a significant difference, it might be because the current sound being simulated doesn't have much background noise, or the threshold is set too low to make a noticeable change. One interesting feature is the ability to see how different sounds are represented in the spectrogram and how they correspond to the electrode stimulation in the cochlea. You can experiment with various sounds and see how the unique patterns they create, which can be quite insightful and even amusing as you explore the relationship between auditory signals and their visual representation. It makes the abstract concept of hearing technology more tangible and interactive. The cochlear implant is a fascinating tool for studying the brain because it directly interacts with the hearing pathway. It essentially bypasses the damaged parts of the ear and sends electrical signals directly to the cochlea, which then stimulates the auditory nerve and sends signals to the brain. This allows researchers to study how the brain processes sound, how it adapts to receiving signals from an artificial source, and how it relearns to interpret these signals, offering unique insights into the brain's plasticity and auditory processing.